Hey, what's up, positive people? And yes, it's time for some more Bodega Talk. And the artist we have stopping by today is Aable. Aable, say what's up to the people.
Yes, sir, or ma'am.
You gotta cover everybody
Right.
You gotta show everybody some love.
Ladies too. What's going on, everybody? Really honored to be here. Thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoy this little segment that we got right here.
Yeah, this is gonna be dope. And actually, like, when I got the idea, I was driving home from work and I got this idea and I was like, it'll be dope to kind of sit down with a few artists. And you were one of the first artists I thought of. So I was just like, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't really have a relationship with him other than like a few like tweets every once in a while or retweeting his stuff and things like that. So I didn't have the relationship. So I was a little nervous, like, man, I'm gonna hit him up out of the blue. I don't know if he's gonna even respond. You know how it is on X or Twitter. It kind of goes into like a secret little folder. So thank you for hitting me back, man.
Of course, man. I tried my best to be available for things like this. I feel like I'm not gonna be able to do everything, but I think it's important to invest in the people that are trying to invest in us.
Nice. I appreciate it.
I see you as someone who's trying to do that. You know what I mean? In the whole space, you kind of promote it, so it means a lot. So thank you for your support, man. And this is the least I could do.
Man, I truly appreciate it. Just a lover of CHH, a lover of the Lord. So I gotta do my part. So I was trying to wreck my brain as I was preparing. Like when was my introduction to Aable? I think the first time I heard you was on a joint with Loso. Didn't you have a joint with Loso?
Yeah, it's called Childish. Yep.
Yeah, so I think that was my introduction to you. And I think there was like a cipher from the Holy Smoke 22.
Yeah.
That was circulating, and that's when I was like, oh man, like this dude can like really rap. And like a lot of people are really good at dropping bars and things like that, but you do a good job of like constructing your bars and like them really building on one another and like telling the story throughout the verse. So but probably my favorite song of you probably won't be able to guess
it. Gossip.
Oh, how did you know? Did I tweet it?
You didn't. I don't know why I knew. You know what's funny too? You know what's funny?
What's that?
You said you interviewed C4.
Yeah.
He messaged me this morning randomly at like 5 a.m.
Wow.
And he was like, bro, I never heard this song. It was Gossip.
Really?
And he was joking. He was like, I played it like 34,000 times. But I told him it's funny because I often forget that song exists.
Really?
Just because it's not because I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of like I don't normally make music like that,
right?
Which we can kind of get into because I feel like I would consider myself versatile, but I still am very much exploring what it is what my sound should be. So I end up kind of just leaning on my strength, which is rapping.
Gotcha.
So anyway, but that song was kind of like a one-off that I loved it, but it didn't really do as well as I thought it would. So it's sometimes you kind of forget about songs like that.
Right.
But it's encouraging to like hear that, oh, there's some people out there who that actually blessed. So
absolutely did. I think that was one of my anthem songs for 23 because so much drama was going on at work. And I was just like, it was taking everything in me to like pull back and not entertain stuff and just like it was crazy. So that song meant a whole lot to me. Maybe I'm half of the views on it or half of the listens on it, but I
appreciate it. I mean, to be honest, like we say it a lot, but there are some songs I think, or most songs, where how many people listen doesn't matter as long as it's the right people are listening. Yeah. And I that was kind of my prayer for that song. Like we didn't know. We knew we were releasing it at a time where it felt like there was so much gossip going around.
Yeah.
Even though the internet kind of always feels like that, but around the time we did it, it felt like heightened for some reason. And we were just like, man, God used this song. And I guess it's like encouraging to hear that he is using it.
Yep.
And a lot of the times I can't see how he's using it, but he is. So that's encouraging to me. So thank you for sharing that, man.
Oh, no worries. So let's get to Bodega Talk. So before we get into the verse, I do want to just spend a little bit of time of like what was it like getting the call? Like, did it catch you off guard? Talk to us a little bit about like getting the call to be on Bodega too.
Yeah, I think I don't know if I'd say it caught me off guard. I was super honored because I had the opportunity to be on Bodega, the first Bodega. So I think that one was more of a shock because at that point, mine and Mykael's relationship was still kind of developing, and I try to carry myself in such a way where I don't really have an expectation of just because you're my friend that you're going to do everything for me. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't really think that's healthy. So I was surprised, and Mykael, he keeps it real, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
And he was kind of like, bro, I'm willing to give you an opportunity, but if we don't like it, you just have to know we're not going to use it.
Got you.
Because it's him and 95, the producer.
Right.
They're both kind of, if they need to both like it.
Got you.
So I just saw it as an opportunity. I did my best, and thankfully they liked it. So when I got this, it was a text. It wasn't a call, but when I got this text, it was like, oh man! First of all, thank you for trusting me again to be a part of such a project that I see as very special in Christian hip hop. This the collaborative nature of it, gathering this many like artists who've been around forever, some legends, and then guys who are just starting. Yeah, it's like there's no other project like it. So to be a part of it is like such an honor. So. But it was kind of the same thing. If they didn't like my verse, I wasn't going to be on this project.
Got you. And
there's no favoritism here. You know what I mean?
Right. And not only did they like it, it was on the opening track. So talk about like going from Bodega 1, like being on All for Nothing, really dope song. 350 killed on there as well. Yeah. And now, so it's like almost like you're not buried in the album by any stretch, because Bodega 1 was crazy. But to go from there to like now you're on the opening track, like did you know that going into it when you were writing that you were going to be in the opening track, or when did you find that out?
When I first started writing to it, I don't think I knew it would be. Well, he might have said it was for the intro. I don't remember, but eventually he did tell me it was for the intro. I think that's a good point. That's a great honor. Everyone's gonna listen to the intro.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's just dope, man. It's even cool that. I'm on the track with the first guy. His name's Bodega Bams. When I was in the world and I was growing up, me and my cousin used to listen to him. So really quickly, for those who don't know, like me, who is Bodega Bams? I don't have like a deep knowledge of him, to be honest with you. It was more my cousin who loved him, and I was around him, and I just remember like bumping some of his songs. Got you. So I wouldn't consider myself a super fan of him at the time, but I remember like, oh snap, this dude, like I used to listen to his music, and now he gave his life to the Lord, and now we're on a song together. It's just like it's just little moments like that just make me feel like there's only something God could do.
Only something God can do. Man, I'm excited for this next section because we are now about to hop into the song. So what I want to do is I just want you to just kind of walk through like bar for bar if you want to, or if you just want to pick out your favorite parts, and I can kind of pop in. But let's just start off with I thought like the verse started with like a pump fake. It kind of pump faked, and you just like okay, and then you said run it back, and then you kind of hop in.
Journey gonna be tough, this all worth it. My fault, run it back. Yo, what I meant to say is compared to the glory that God will surely reveal, all these troubles is just a small purchase.
So talk about your start of this verse.
Yeah, so whenever someone is asking me to be a part of their project, I try to ask them, like, what are you envisioning? Yeah. And I remember Mykael mentioning something about, like, going through a trial, like, kind of persevering. And this verse was immediately the one that comes to my mind, where it's like, essentially the things that we're going through are nothing to be compared to the glory that God will one day reveal, right? So this verse is very, when I was writing it, it was kind of ministering to me as I was writing it, because I feel like I've been in a season where that has felt like a desert, where I'm trying to continuously go to God and be faithful, but it doesn't feel as easy as it once did, right? And I'm I've been doing music now for, I don't know, it's been probably going on 8 years intentionally, like pursuing it. And I haven't necessarily had the moment where I can do this now full time and support my family, which is kind of where I'm at now. I'm like really asking God, like, you know, we got a baby on the way. So
congrats, man. Congrats.
Thank you. So it's like, I'm kind of like in this place where I'm like, Lord, but nonetheless, it doesn't matter what happens in my life. I know you're the answer. There's nothing else. There's nothing else out there for me. So that's, I mean, we'll get to that one line that I say, but yeah, the beginning of this verse is just reflecting on like, yeah, this is going to be a tough journey, but it's all going to be worth it. And what God is the reward that God has for us is going to pale. I mean, what we're going through now is going to pale in comparison to what that reward will be.
Yo, what I meant to say is compared to the glory that God will surely reveal, all these troubles are just a small purchase.
And that's and that's so real. And like I'm a visual person, so like when people can really like kind of set the stage, like my brain would just kind of go. So my brain actually went to like a funny moment. At least it's funny to me, or it's like a funny like nostalgic type of deal. So I remember like early 2000s, I'm in college and needing cash on a college campus, and like all I had was just like a debit card. That's all I had was a debit card. So I used to always have to like run to Walmart, run to, was it Bilo? I was living in South Carolina, so the Piggly Wiggly. I was going to these different, like whatever grocery store I can go to, just so I can literally go in and make any small purchase.
Yeah,
a pack of gum, just so I can take out the cash that I needed. So for some reason, when you this bar has made me think about like all these troubles are a small purchase. I just remembered like, oh man, I gotta go pick up some Tic Tacs so I can just pull out $20 in cash so I can have it on campus. So I don't know why I made that connection, but I did.
Yeah, I love that. And the reason I pump fake in the beginning is because I kind of started the verse being like, yo man, the journey's gonna be tough, but it's all worth it. But I'm like, wait, hold on. Let me tell you what I really mean, because I feel like I said it too chill. Like what I meant to say is, compared to the glory that God will reveal, everything we're going through is just a small purchase. So it's like I'm trying to give the listener perspective. If they're going through something, if you can see what you're going through as small in comparison to what God has for us, then you can go through that thing with hope, because you know it's not, first of all, it's not going to last forever. Second of all, he's with you in the midst of that, and third of all, it's not for nothing, you know. So
that's good. And like, for y'all listening, like that's Romans chapter 8. That's one of the, like, if you're ever going through a rough time, like Romans, like if you're going through a tough time, read chapter 7. That'll give you context of why you're going through and why you're struggling. But don't stop in 7. Go to Romans chapter 8, and it really will pull you through. So I love that you started it with the word of God. And I like the way you explained that. That's pretty dope.
Definitely don't stop at 7, because I feel like 7 is like Paul's just like, I do the things I hate, and it sounds like we're just a slave to our sin our whole lives. But then he talks about life in the spirit. Yeah, and there's freedom. Yeah, and that's I'm passionate about freedom in my own life, and so
that's dope. Yeah, so let's keep going. So you get into the line about the best decision being was when you gave your heart to him, and then you go into, again, like some biblical bars. So let's keep going.
Yeah, let me go back to the start. The best decision I made was to give him my heart. And I know we all sign up for green pastures, but I've been here in this desert still waiting for water to part. You feel me?
You know, there's verses in the Bible. I don't know the exact verses escaping me, but he will lie me down in green pastures.
Psalm 23.
Psalm 23, right? I should have known. That's one of the most popular songs. But yeah, you know, sometimes some of us, if we're honest, come to God with this idea of like, you will make my life better. Yeah. You will give me blessings. So we all come to God for what he can give us, but sometimes we don't realize what we're actually signing up for, you know, and it's a walk that your faith will be tested in, you know, that trials, you know, Jesus promised that we will experience troubles, but he'll be with you. Yeah. Right? He said, but don't be discouraged. Like I am with you. Yeah. So this idea of like, you give your life to God and everything's just going to be perfect is not true. Right. So that was kind of the picture I was painting is like, I know we all sign up for blessings essentially, but me personally, I'm in a place where I'm in a desert and I'm still waiting for water to part. And that's obviously a reference to the Israelites leaving Egypt, and they're kind of walking by faith, kind of trusting Moses to lead them. Yeah. And they have this ocean in front of them and their enemies behind them. And I'm like, all right, God, I'm in this position right now. Like, I need you to do something. I need you to move. So that's the imagery. Sometimes like the way I write is not always like, it's a very creative way of writing where it's kind of, I'm painting multiple pictures and I'm hoping that it all comes together to.
It does.
Okay.
It absolutely does. Cause and I'll say this one thing and we'll get to it later, but like, this isn't the first time you refer to the children of Israel in this verse, and I love the way you did it on the back end of this project. But like 100%, I feel like it makes that connection. It makes that connection of like just like the two different sides. Like you wanting green pastures, but you're getting like a desert, and that's just real life. But I like the resolve you come with after that.
But I've been decided I'm not leaving. I can give you 7 reasons and they are Jesus.
Right.
It's like that same idea of like Romans chapter 7 and then Romans chapter 8. Like we're not going to stay in this in the place where we're like on a decline, but we're gonna rise. So
exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was thinking. It was like, yeah, I'm in a desert. I wanted you to know that I'm going through a difficult time, but there's no part of me that's thinking about walking away from God.
Yeah.
In fact, that's the last thing. In fact, I'm going more towards him because I need him. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's like, but I've been decided. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Like I can give you 7 reasons, and all of my reasons for why I'm not going anywhere are Jesus.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple. It's like
dope.
He's the way. I discovered that a long time ago, and I'm not surprised that life got challenging. Mm-hmm. And even though I'm struggling, I'm not going anywhere. So
yep. And that reminds me, and I don't know the exact story, but there's a story in the New Testament after Jesus gave a really hard teaching, and people got up. I think it was the part about like hitting your mother, and like it was some really hard stuff, and like a lot of the crowd got up and walked away. And he asked one of the disciples, like, "Are you about to leave?" And he was just like, "Where else can I go? You got the words of life." So like
exactly,
you just talking just reminded me of that story as well. And then you end things with the line about like, this is where you learn the most about God's love. It's in these seasons, not when you're like green pastures on the top of a hill, have beautiful views.
I learned more about his love fighting through dry seasons. There ain't nothing you gonna say to me.
I could briefly elaborate on that.
Go for it.
I don't mean to be talking too long, but
no, that's why you're here.
But this verse is very rich and it's very from my heart kind of verse. Mm-hmm. And you know, that part where it's like, I've learned more about his love fighting through dry seasons is I think I naturally came into the faith seeing how good God was, and no one told me I had to do this. I just naturally felt like I had to earn it. And that could have been something that, you know, came from childhood. I don't know if not the greatest relationship with my dad growing up, but there was just this thing in me where it was like, I wanted to perform and do so well for God, you know what I'm saying? And I think it became so evident in a dry season of how much I feel like I'm failing. And so it's in these moments when God does something in my life that shows his love to me, I'm so aware of I did nothing to earn these.
Right.
It was nothing I did that caused you to provide that money for me when I really needed it. It wasn't because of my faithfulness.
Yeah.
I'm just giving you an example. Right. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't because of my faithfulness that you open more doors and opportunities, or that you're restoring certain relations. You know, whatever God is doing in my life, it's been so evident that it's not because I'm a righteous superstar.
Right.
It's because of his grace. Right. It's like, oh, it's your grace and it's your love that I am so aware more than ever I don't deserve. And help me, God, to just receive this gift and not abuse it. You know, I thank you for your grace, but I know I can't earn salvation. So I want this I want this thing to die in me. So yeah, just like seeing God's love in a hard time in your life, I think really solidifies how his love is, you know, how deep, how wide, how far.
Yeah.
The depth of his love. Like,
Talk about
oh, you'll reach me down here.
Yeah.
Oh, you really love me.
Right.
So sometimes it hits different.
Yep.
I think that's what I'm trying to say. So
dope. Let's keep pushing, man. So now we're heading into like just like standing in confidence right here. So let's talk about these next few lines.
Yeah. There ain't nothing you gonna say to me. Bye, demon. Bye, hater. Bye, Doja. Bye, Legion.
There ain't nothing you gon' say to me. Bye, demon. Bye, hater. Bye, Doja. Bye, Legion. He was obedient till death. That's how you buy allegiance.
So the Bye Doja, I wrote this verse around the time where she literally released a song called Demon and dressed as a demon.
Right. It's crazy.
I was like, all right, if you're going to go that hard for hell, I'm just gonna say goodbye. It was just relevant to the line.
Yeah.
But yeah, that line's pretty straightforward. It's just saying I'm saying goodbye to everything that would try to change my mind on Jesus.
Mm-hmm. So I love it, like the cultural relevance with Bye Doja, but then the biblical relevance with Legion. So Legion, I went and looked it up. This is not me going off the top of my head, people, so I don't want you guys thinking that I got all this stuff in my head. But Mark chapter 5 verse 9, it talks about like the Lord casting out demons, and the demons said that they were Legion. And I'm like, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm. We are many. Yeah.
that's crazy. So I just like how you break it down, like by demon, like the spiritual, by hater, that's physical, by Doja, that's cultural, then by Legion, that's biblical. So it's like you're just walking through like whatever angle you want to go at it, like we saying by do it all. So that's
I like your interpretation of that. I like that.
Hey, you're the one that wrote it.
I know, but sometimes I'll be writing stuff and I'm like, oh, you realize it afterwards.
Yeah.
The Holy Spirit be in there sometimes. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next line is, he was obedient till death. That's how you buy allegiance. So that's just dope. But the line after that, man, I'm a hooper, so I love NBA bars. So walk us through these NBA bars right here.
I got you.
Hey, shout out Gilbert, we bring the weapon up in arenas. Agents of change, we let it rain and speak freedom.
Shout out Gilbert, we bring the weapon up in arenas. First of all, his name's Gilbert Arenas. But second of all, if you didn't know, while he was in the NBA, he brought a gun into the locker room and got in trouble for it. So that's that's old news. Like I'm 29 years old, so some of you young guys, girls, probably never heard of that story.
It was a crazy story.
Yeah, I'm referencing that story, and when I say the weapon, I'm talking about the word of God. I'm saying shout out Gilbert, we bring the weapon up in arenas. Agents of Change, he was called Agent Zero, so that's another play on him. Agents of Change, we let it rain and speak freedom. So it's just like, that's the bar. That
was crazy, because man, just like the Gilbert and his last name is Arenas, he brought he actually literally brought a couple weapons and told Nick Young to pick one. Like, which one you want me to use? Like, Gilbert was
wild. He is wild.
Tripping. He's just not like a voice on his show now. Like, he really was wild when he was in the league.
Right. Which is actually kind of cool, because I wrote this line before I knew that he was becoming relevant again.
Okay.
So he, like, I realized now he has a really big podcast.
Oh yeah, I love it too.
Yeah. So it's like, praise God. Like, some people will actually know who he is.
Yeah.
Even if they didn't watch the NBA, 20 years ago. So
nice. But yeah, so I'm a sucker for good NBA bars, man. That really got me hyped. So, and I think right after I got super hyped, like, you hit me with a bar that's like really near and dear to my heart right now. So let's talk about this next one.
Speaking of change, I've been planning it out. I go to God, but sometimes I'm not a fan of the route.
Speaking of change, I've been planning it out. So this is another very personal couple of lines that I'm talking about. It's just like, there's a lot of areas that I'm trying to grow in my life, and I've been trying to make plans for that. And I sometimes see what God might be saying, and it's not comfortable. That's what I mean by I'm not a fan of the route. It's like, God is calling me outside of my comfort in order to be transformed. So it's like, speaking of change, I've been planning it out. I go to God, but sometimes I'm not a fan of the route.
Man.
And then, so that's real, right? It's like,
Yeah.
God in his love knows that in order for me to grow, I need to be pushed outside of my comfort zone. And that's like that in and of itself is a step of faith and trust. Like, all right, Father, I trust you, even though I know this is hard, but I trust you. So,
Right.
And then the next line.
We'll get there. We'll get there, man. But like that not being a fan of the route, like I think maybe 2.5 years ago now, like I feel like the Lord dropped in my spirit that like me and my family, so wife, 2 kids, I didn't understand what he meant, but it's been like an ongoing conversation for like 2.5 years where he's just kind of like, you guys are too comfortable. And I was just like, what does that mean? And like, and over the past 2.5 years, he's been unpacking it. But like, the hardest part of it is like, I feel like I've been kicking that can down the road because I know how hard it's going to be. And I'm just kind of like, how come I just can't go over there? It's like, I'm on the path and I'm like, okay, Lord, like, I'm on this path you told me to be on, but like, I see a path over there. It don't look bad. And I can actually use my gifts and talents over there too. So like, I'm gonna go on the path you told me to, but can we talk about the other path? So I've been having that conversation with the Lord. He's just kind of like, trust me. And I'm just like, and I've been in a season where just being open and honest with the Lord and saying like, I don't like this path, but I trust you. And I feel like in previous seasons of my life, I would just be like almost like a robot and just be like, okay, go on this path. Lord said go this path. I'm not even gonna like pray to you about my real desires of wanting to do something different. I would just go, which is cool. I'm being obedient, but I'm not being real and authentic with the Lord to like just talk through how I'm feeling. He knows anyway. So so that line really hit for me, man.
Praise God, bro. I love that. I can relate to you big time. I love that, bro. When I write, I think I hope that it's gonna reach the people that are going through something similar. And that's when I think music goes from a good thing to a great thing. Right. It's like music has the ability to like speak into someone's life. And that's why I think Christian music, because we have the truth, is like powerful when those two things connect in a real way. So bro, praise God, man. I'm really glad that spoke to you.
Yeah, and just to piggyback on what you're saying about Christian music, I think that even Christian rap is even more unique and more powerful because like if it's done well, you get something like this, a verse like this, and the verse like a lot of the verses on Bodega, which are, if you really sit down and think about it and talk about it, there's something really deep there. That's why I wanted to have the conversation with you, just because like I think you can get sometimes caught up with like the nostalgia, because like Bodega is like it's a cultural, like it's a thing, it's a movement. But the more and more you listen to the song, I'm hoping that like it resonates, and I'm hoping if somebody checks out this this conversation, they like, oh wait a minute, like I was just kind of vibing to it, but this is quite a bit of New Testament and Old Testament references. And speaking of Old Testament references, you got one coming up right here in these next few bars, so go ahead and talk about those real quick.
So I was really excited when this line came together. Sometimes it comes to, when it works out, I get excited.
Nice.
I believe I'm trusting him to provide, but I can't wait for bread to fall from the sky.
But so I believe I'm trusting him to provide. So we're talking again, like he's calling me into an uncomfortable route, and in this uncomfortable route, I feel like I have to trust God for provision. And I'm like, I believe I'm doing that, but at the same time, I know my responsibility as a husband, and as soon to be father, is like, I'm the man of the house. I have to do my part and provide.
When I'm the man of the house, I'm on the cloud by day recording, fire by night.
Right. So I brought in the story of the Israelites when they had to trust God for their daily bread, which was manna. So manna, if I'm pretty sure if they kept some, it would spoil.
Right.
God wanted them to trust him every day, daily. And I'm like, oh gosh, I'm in the same position. But so he's like, so I said, I believe I'm trusting him to provide, but I can't wait for bread to fall from the sky when I'm the man of the house. So I can't like manna fell from the sky, right?
Yeah.
Bread is referred to as money. We call money bread sometimes.
Yep.
So that's the play on words. But
I didn't even catch that one. That's dope.
Oh yeah. So it's like I can't wait for money to just fall into my lap is what I'm trying to say. Like I'm trying to paint the parallel of like I can't just sit around and wait for money to fall on my lap. Like I need to go make something happen. But at the same time, I need to make sure I'm moving in faith and not trying to not like stepping outside of trusting God. I'm kind of like communicating the struggle that I'm sure a lot of men have who are providers. Yeah. Where we are told to trust God, but we also know we have to go out and work. Yeah. And that the tension sometimes there is like, I don't want to trust myself to make it happen, but I also can't just sit at home and wait for God to send me a check in the mail. Right. Yeah. So I can't wait for bread to fall from the sky when I'm the man of the house. That's one of my favorite bars I've ever written, to be honest with you.
Man, that's dope. That was dope. Say it again.
I said it's like potent. I love it because it's the wordplay works, but it's also so true to my life, and I think that is why I love it so much. Just because it's like truth, but it also is a dope wordplay. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. And I love like the references to the children of Israel, because like that's like sometimes we look back at them and say like, man, how, like, why are they trying to, like, they knew, like, we have what I'm trying to say is like we have the ability of like hindsight. So like we're like why were they tripping? Like they were serving the Lord, or like why were they trying to take extra manna?
They saw an ocean split. They saw a fire pillar from the sky. They saw bread falling from heaven.
Yeah. So it's like, why would you ever doubt him? But it's like, you doubt him all the time. Like God
after all the things I saw, by the way, after all the things God has done for me already.
That's like the Lord has made so many ways in my life, literally saved my life. He's done so much stuff, but like here I am, just kind of like, man, I don't know how I'm gonna make this happen. And God's just kind of like, you aren't. Like that's the whole point. So but I definitely like the bar, a cloud by day, fire by night, because like that's a reference to Exodus chapter 13. Like he was guiding them night and day. But then like recording fire by night, like I imagine that like if you work a full-time job, like when are you working on your music?
It's in the evenings. Yeah. So that's like me like scheming now. I gave you we're in the children of Israel scheme. Yeah. Yeah. We're talking about manna. So I really love to, like you said, I like to connect things if it works. You know, so I try to like continue on. So in that same time frame, God was bringing the fire by night that followed them and the cloud by day. So for me, when I say cloud, I'm talking about like the iCloud, listening to beats. Like I'm on the cloud by day.
Ooh,
recording fire by night.
That's dope. Ooh, that's dope, man. I like that. I like that a lot.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah. Thank you, man.
Let's keep going. I'm trying to ride this wave until I'm sure about life.
Trying to ride this wave until I'm sure about life.
That's just me. I think sometimes how my brain works is like I'm trying to rhyme, and then I'm actually trying to think about how this bar came together. But essentially, in my uncertainties, I'm trying to continue in faith.
Yeah,
is essentially what I'm trying to say. But I like the idea of wave and shore. Like,
that's a nice pun right there. That's nice.
Yeah.
Because it's like it really is. It's like it's kind of suggesting that like in our faith, like there's like a you have to like. It does kind of feel like sometimes it feels like you are like kind of riding the wave. Yeah. Especially like sometimes like when you are going through like a dry season, like you maybe just be holding on to like a word you got like 2 months ago during the message. And you just like trying to hold on to that thing until you can get back to a place of like real assurance, like on the shore. Like you have like, okay, like I'm just trying to ride this out until I can get like back to something.
I'm sure about life.
Yeah.
And when you're on shore, you're safe. Yeah. It's a lot of depth here, man. Like
it is.
Come on, where all the Kendrick Lamar fans at? You guys like to break down lyrics. You have a heyday that you're gonna find some gems in here.
Yeah, and that's why it's like I really do like. I really do. I know I'm only one person, but I would love to have this conversation because there's so many like there's so many verses on Bodega too that like you can do this with.
Right.
That's why I was driving home and I was just like a couple songs in a row. I'm just kind of like my brain couldn't keep up with like, because like my brain like I said, like I see like pictures, so I'm like seeing these pictures, and the next, you know, the next verse comes on, now I'm seeing more pictures. I'm just kind of like, I gotta do something to get people to really stop and really listen to these bars. So this is
a great idea, man. I think like it would probably benefit the CHH community, but also people who are in the world who've never even heard of it, to hear people kind of break down the lyrics more, because I think it will add richness to the music, and it will also like people will hear where it's coming from. Like one of the main things that separates us is where we actually are rapping about what we live, and on top of that, it's true. So it's like when people can hear, oh, that's what you meant by that. Oh, that's actually in the Bible. Right. Oh, this like I just feel like that's a great idea. I think you should continue doing this, and I hope more artists say yes.
Yeah, hit me up
because it's great. This is a great idea.
Hit me up, and I'm gonna do a callback to my favorite Aable song, Gossip. Got a mouthful of diamonds, but still ain't got nothing valuable to say.
Woo!
That was you wrote it. You the one that wrote it.
I know, but
the bar is fire, man. So let's go ahead and land the plane. Let's go ahead and land the planes.
I once heard everything free came with a price, and yo, this joint paid in full. Mykael V.
So the last two bars, let's talk about those.
Yes, sir. I once heard everything free came with a price. Pretty sure my father-in-law told me that. You know, they said everything that is free for you, someone else had to pay for. And it's like, okay, I didn't think of it that way, but I mean, even our salvation, like Jesus paid for it. It's a free gift for us, but Jesus paid the price, and what a high price he paid. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of what that line is. It's like this salvation is free, it's a gift, but I need to remember who paid for it. It's to put into perspective what it is that I received. And then the next line is kind of going on top of that, is like, you know, this joint is paid in full. Like Jesus paid it, and he paid it in full. And then there was a movie years ago called Paid in Full, starring Mykael V. So I kind of cut off his name, Mykael V.
That's fair. You got to do that because you've had this scheme going. Life, price, five.
Right, yeah. It sounded cool too. So I was like, I kind of like that. You might not know what that is, like, especially if you don't know who the actor is.
Right. For me, one thing, the things that are important to me, like when I'm listening to a song, like I really love artists that can, and this is what I was talking with Taylor about, like he almost will start a verse like you're like in mid conversation. You're just kind of like, oh, like it's not like a setup. It's just kind of like we're in mid conversation. And because I'm a big Taylor fan, like it made sense for me. But the other thing I also like is like a big exclamation mark at the end of a verse. And I feel like this was it. And then it's like, then even with the cutting off of his name, like that just made it sound doper. It really stuck the landing of the verse. So man, this was an amazing verse, bro.
Thank you, bro. Thank you so much, man. I pray that it continues to bless people. You know, I feel like this verse was not like a super flashy verse. But I personally feel like it's really rich in truth. And so my hope is that people who are going through a difficult time could hear this verse and like it really like speak to them. So
right, man, because this is like I said, like this verse has a lot of Old Testament references, New Testament references. It got references from OGs in your life. It has real life testimonies in the bars that you wrote. So like I said in the intro, there's a lot of good writers, a lot of people who can write dope bars, but like to really construct them in a way to where like you said, like we got on an Old Testament, we got on a Children of Israel track at some point of the song, and then we just kind of like it was there throughout the entire song, throughout the entire verse. So it's things like that really make, for me, my personal style, it makes verses really sticky. But at the same time, I do like when people who can just like punch
Yeah.
Punch and punch. I like that too. I'm not gonna lie. But,
Yeah, same. I mean, there's a time and place for both, I think.
Yeah. So man. Do you have anything coming up before I let you go? Anything in the works?
I've been releasing a couple of remixes to songs that were on my EP. So next Friday, I am releasing the final remix. It's kind of, worked with different producers for each one. This one is Joyride. I have a song called Joyride, and it's a remix with Prodi. You know who Prodi is?
Yeah.
So Prodi's a producer.
Yeah, he can rap his face off too.
Yeah, so
that dude can rap.
Yeah, that's my boy, and he produced the beat. So, but after that, I'm working on a lot of music.
Okay.
I am kind of in the backgrounds working on an album.
Okay.
There's no timeline on that. Working on a collaborative project. Going to be opening up for features soon. So I'm working on a whole lot of stuff, and I feel like the stuff that's coming from me that people haven't heard yet is a different sound.
Okay.
Than what I typically hear in Christian hip hop. It's a little more like soulful. I don't know. I guess boom bap. It's very. The focus is the lyrics.
Okay, got you.
Not so much just like hype music.
Got you.
And so
I'm with you, man.
So if you're a fan of lyricism, I think the next stuff I'm releasing that's the focus. And and I'm down, bro, to come on here whenever you like.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We definitely got to keep the connection now that we have official introduction. So yeah, this has been a lot of fun. Like I said, I'm willing to do this with as many of the artists that were on Bodega as possible. Just because I just feel like it's a fantastic project. A lot of artists put a lot of hard work into this, and it really is more than just an album. It's a culture. It's nostalgic yet relevant. So yeah, man, this has been fun. This has been Bodega Talk. I am B+. This is Aable, and until next time, peace in, confusion out, and be positive.
Take care, y'all.
Hey, what's going on, positive people? Thank you so much for watching this video to the end. Make sure you like, share, and leave a comment below of your thoughts on this video, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Be positive, y'all.